Just waiting. Right, that's it. The little blue bar is there. We're live on Thursday, the 7th of February, 2019. We're already the 7th of February. Good evening, chat room. Thanks for waiting for us. And on our hangout today, we have our Patricia, we have Roxanne Glenn, Globalist Denier, and we have Rob, Liftin The Lid. And Robin's big project now is the Global Conference in September. So, hi.
Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. We were a bit worried when we came on and we couldn't hear Robin, but we got that one sorted out.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We're there now.
It's the biggest problem we have on the Hangouts lately.
It's not your problem.
It's everybody's got a microphone problem.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Probably, I mean, you switch laptop and it's all fine. So I need to do some more testing. Roger, and out. Testing. Just beforehand. Well, you can hear it loud and clear now, hopefully. So hopefully the chat room can hear.
It's really weird. Do you know what? The Hangout's going, the chat room's going, but there's no views on the panel whatsoever. So I don't know what's going on there.
I'm sure it'll start to lift off, no problem.
It doesn't have a 0 or anything. There's nothing there. So I can't see how many people have come in.
I can see 21 at the minute, so it's starting to fill up.
Cool, that's good then. Well, we'll get off that then. It just doesn't show on the panel. Anyway, before we get into your bit, what were you doing last weekend, Roxanne?
I went down to Brighton with a few other individuals, Dave, Gary, Lee, Carla, Nick, his son, another guy called CJ who was over the other side to make an observation from the I-360 in Brighton to Worthing Pier. West Brighton to Worthing.
What did you see, Roxanne?
I saw laser on the other side. The conditions weren't ideal. We didn't get the results that we were aiming for. But that's what happens with repeated observations, right? You have to repeat them, you have to do them again. So the results were recorded. I don't want to say too much because Dr. John's not done his final video yet. So, but, you know, we didn't get the results we were aiming for. And that was to do with refraction. And some of the naysayers have kind of put themselves in a bit of a corner. So I'm really interested to see what people that are naysayers say when we do get the results that we want. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, watch this space. The next one will probably be in a few weeks. So if you haven't subscribed to Dr. John's channel, Dr. John D on YouTube, and click the bell and you'll see when he puts the information up for the next one, which should be in a few weeks.
And what else did you see? I can see Dave in the chat room. So what
else Dave Marsh was down there with his camera and he caught the most beautiful sunset. I mean, it had me awestruck. And at the end, we saw the elusive green flash, which I was stunned with. I'd never seen anything like that in real life. You know, I've seen it on camera.
The sun disappearing into nothing. Have you seen that? I know, when people stand there and they say all these things about the sun, when you've seen that, you think, well, what are they going on about? Because that thing is definitely not what anybody thinks it is. It must be something awful.
It didn't look like anything I've ever seen in my life before. And
it just vanishes. It just donk gone.
It doesn't go over and away. Like it doesn't go down and just it goes. It left me speechless. And I don't know if anyone's seen the footage from it, but when you were actually there, it was looking, I hope I get to see it again.
Have you ever seen that before? Like, even have you watched films on it, or?
I've watched films on it, but not seen what I saw that day. I was literally.
Dave's just posted a link in the chat room to that video.
I was excited, to say the least. So.
Hey, I didn't know actually if Jason wanted to come on, to be honest.
If you want to send the link. Do you want me to send the link?
Yeah, with Dave Marsh, looks like he's coming on Friday now. Well, hopefully he is, because Mr. Fry would like him on the Fridays one. So that's Dave, and he can talk about all that on Friday.
Well,
Yeah. Part of it,
doing
isn't
that
it,
now. Okay, Jason, I'm sending you the link.
Sorry, I've been a bit disorganised today because my phone gave out last night.
Done.
The screen's not working. It had stripes across it and everything. I had to go and sort that out. It took out, you know how long these things take. They just take ages to sort things out. You think half an hour, 45 minutes, about 3 hours it took, you know.
It's a headache.
Oh, he says, yeah, he's not feeling so good today. Never mind. So anyway, so you enjoyed that. Have you ever seen one of the disappearing suns, Robin?
No, I haven't. I've seen lots of lovely sort of near and far pictures as the sun sets, showing a shrinking sun, but I've never seen something as sort of mysterious as that. And what Dave managed to catch, which made it even more beautiful, was I think they must have been seagulls just flying in the distance, just right across the sunscape. So yeah, with some music, it's fantastic. It's majestic, and I think it topped off a pretty amazing day, to be honest.
Because it makes you then you realise that everything that you think about it isn't true. Even the flat Earth stuff, you know, there's something else going on there for that thing to do that. And there's Stan Smith, love Stan Smith, he talks about that.
Yeah.
And don't forget, there was a call out to Mick West, Simon Dan, all the other guys. Are you coming? And
it was a no-show.
No-show.
Wait, no,
So
actually, no, it wasn't an actual no-show because Mick West was in the chat room, wasn't he?
He felt it was appropriate to try and criticise from the chat room.
Well, yeah, 2 cents worth from his armchair.
And not actually show his face and actually be a genuine person. So shame on
you
guys.
As a globe person, listen, if you've never seen it before, it's one of those things, and you learn it, you come into flat Earth, you're looking at everything differently. But once you see something like that, how can anybody, a globe person or whatever, believe they're on a globe after that?
Yeah. Well, I've just been listening back to Dr. John Dee's interview with Roxanne and I on our podcast, and one of the little sound bites I've captured from that is, you know, if you're going to come and criticize my work, as in his work, you better have some evidence and you better have something to back it up, because that's what Mick West is trying to do. He's trying to, from afar, just chip away. But Dr. John actually pulls it all apart anyway. And if you haven't got the evidence to back up your claims, then you're sounding like a bit of an empty, clanging cymbals from afar. You know, there's nothing going on, no substance.
Yeah. Can I tell you something? I showed that little film that I've got loads of films on Sun and Moon like that. Obviously, there's Robert Forsh. I put, was it Wise Up? Is that it? Wise Up, Wide Awake.
Wise Up. Wise Up.
No, not the guy that does all the fossil stuff. He's another child that goes out to the sea. Wide Awake. Oh my goodness, his channel's gone out of my brain right now. Sorry. I put one of his out, and I showed that to the physicist I work for, and he didn't see it. He didn't see that. He just didn't see what was happening. He couldn't. He just said rubbish. That's all he could. I was thinking someone's filmed it. He's saying rubbish. He tried to talk to me about it today, this week, but I couldn't do it, Robin, because he's just not interested in. He knows that the things don't add up either way. Nothing adds up. But he will not go there. And he starts going, well, explain this and explain all the ridiculous things. So I can't, because it's like, I can't, because he just starts jumping up and down in front of me.
Well, this is where the extraordinary qualities of Dr. John Dee really shine, because I remember asking the question, did you feel a sense of resistance having all that education and discovering things that were conflicting with that education? He said, but I've been open-minded for a long time. And he knew that he had to go out and to prove things for himself, and the data would lead him. Now, that to me said he's willing to be someone who's objective about it. He will hold an idea in front of him, examine it, test it, figure it out without dismissing it, which I said to him was, an example of how I guess mature people can think, because they don't, you don't dismiss something out of hand when something's presented to you. You're actually able to examine it objectively, and that's what impressed me about him, because he himself said, I probably, more indoctrinated than others, having done all this education, but he's still able to hold that in front of him and keep going until the data leads him to the eventual outcome and proof. And I am so impressed with that, because there's a lot of scientists that just can't do that. They just won't do that. People who are just so indoctrinated just can't. The shutters go up, and then it's game over. They won't take a step forward. So, and there's plenty of people like that, unfortunately, that we come across that are just like that. So, fair play to him.
Well said.
I was always a bit shocked whenever we had a few before. We had Flat Earth Dude and stuff like that, and the things that they actually said. There was your one. Basically, the answers are like, well, you go around there and you do this, you go through it, you look at it, you come back. That's it. Nothing. No proper words in it. No scientific words. No, nothing. Nothing. I was a bit shocked.
I'm sure Roxanne will back this up as well. Is when you're in Speaker's Corner or any outreach and you come across a so-called boffin, they soon fall on their sword, because you only need a few arguments tucked up your sleeve to leave them completely disarmed. I don't know if you watched Anthony Riley down at Speaker's Corner, and he had a guy on a bike who must have done physics or something, but he came across, all armed with his gravity theories and all of this, and Anthony just unpicked it, showed him where he'd gone wrong.
Initially, he sounded prepared, didn't he? Initially, he sounded like he was fully prepared, but he actually wasn't. Yeah. No,
that's right. And I love the moment when he decides to cycle off, because he's triggered, really triggered.
Yeah,
and they try.
You just stood there and going, "Oh, really? Wow! Listen to this intelligent person." And what do you think? What it is that maybe it's not that they're not all clever people. It's just that being in Flat Earth, we've had to do mega about 20 A levels all in one go, and so we're advanced, even with questions to ask them now.
But what's encouraging is I don't count myself as well read on any of this stuff, but even in Bath with a physics teacher and all his pupils, he ended up telling me, it's not fair. You've got all the answers. And I'm thinking, I'm stood out here on the high street of Bath with a load of banners saying you've been lied to, and you think it's unfair. Goodness me. I think what he wasn't prepared for was just having some stock answers that undermined his entire syllabus, and all his students were there ready to mock and scorn and all the rest, and one or two were really having a go. But by the time you just say, look, Cavendish needs you to have a great leap of faith, and it's not been repeated. And now Anthony's taught me, page 2 of that paper says gravity's force is equivalent to a 50 millionth of the mass.
Such a horrible word, that one, isn't it?
How can you stand up and say, okay, yeah, water sticks to the underside of a ball after that? You can't. So what I take heart from is you don't actually need to be a super brain box to take on the so-called super brain boxes. You just don't.
Brain boxes after all, are they? And they rely on figures, don't you? Because everything that they're talking about is a theory.
Well, I remember this quite arrogant student in Bath just came right up to my face with his nose and just spewed out this physics theory. I said, "That's just a theory. Where's the evidence? Where's the actual experiment that proves that?" And he just ignored me and carried on quoting theory, like he was beating me in an argument. In the end, I just smiled. And more people around him who were just observing noticed, you're not getting anywhere, mate. You're just ranting and repeating.
Well, I will tell you, I went into a shop today to pay a couple of bills. And then I was in one of those modes today. I did tell a few people. I told in the telephone shop, and they sort of just looked the other way. They just said, well, that's the opinion. And I said one thing and I thought, all right then. But I went to pay the bills. And I said to this guy, I said, well, it's all bills, isn't it? I said, well, I start off with, it's the global life. Anyway, I got to the fact, I said, well, we're flat and that. And she said, yes, I know. And I said, really? And there was no argument. She's looking at me. Said, yeah, we're not moving. It's all a load of rubbish. And she was young. And I was thinking, yay! Okay, 2 or 3 didn't, but 1 did. I've done a bit of flat smacking today.
Good for you. Well, sometimes it's leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. You don't need to be super vocal about it. I love David Gessner. He sends these pictures up on Facebook with, I've left something in the library, or I've left something in the Walmart, or I've left something in the bookshop, particularly by the Atlas or the Globe.
Or slipped it in the menu of the eatery that he's eating in.
They used to have a sticker lever, Roxanne. Do you still leave stickers and things everywhere?
Yeah, can't help it. Cards, stickers, leaflets, a lot. On a bus, on a tube, in an Uber, at a coffee shop. You know, when you go and get the sugars, you know, the sugars and the stirrers and stuff, everyone kind of stops off there, whether they take sweetener or just need to stir it, and just slot them in there.
That's a good shout.
Anyway.
I like that one.
So just before we get around to asking Robin about the conference, anything else that you're doing, Roxanne?
Yeah, I'm doing, I haven't got the dates yet, but I'm going to a university to talk to some uni students. I don't really have the proper outline of it yet, but that should be, I think it might be in March or April or May. Yeah, haven't actually got but it's up somewhere in Oxford or Cambridge. But yeah, just stay tuned for that because I'll get the details for that quite soon. And yeah, there's a few things that we're really trying our best to get as much eyes and ears to listen, to question what you've been taught. Not pushing models, not making any claims. The last thing I'm trying to do is make any claims. I'm just trying to push awareness and get social acceptance for this subject. And any way that we can do that within reason, we need to do that. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just saying what my agenda is. That's what my agenda is. As some of you may know, The Guardian have dropped an article that we were involved in. We were pretty transparent with you guys about that as well. At the beginning of the tour, The Guardian reached out and we kind of seized an opportunity to get them to listen to what we were saying, not only about, you know, the fact that we're not living on what we were or taught we're living on, but that we were doing a tour, that we were trying to go around the UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. And we, you know, showed them what was going on at Speaker's Corner. We showed them what was going on at the end of tour event. And for those of you that have seen it, I hope you thought it was all right. As I said, none of us were trying to push any models or make any claims. As we know, as soon as we do that, burden of proof's on us. It's not a good look. So, yeah, that's about it. Obviously, Speaker's Corner, last Sunday of every month. And we're looking to do, it'll be a year soon since we started going to Speaker's Corner. And we think it would be pretty apt. And I say we, before anyone jumps on my back and does this whole who's we. Those that have gone to Speaker's Corner on a regular basis while we've been at Speaker's Corner have, you know, talked about what to do. And that's how it's come up. So it's been pretty organic about how it's come up. And it will be a year soon. And I think that's something worth celebrating, the fact that we've kept the conversation going perpetually for a year in the capital city of this country.
Yeah, it is. Well done, Roxanne, that you go out and that you do these things. All credit to you. One-to-one, I find I can just about do that one, I think. I prefer doing it because they can't look, they can't see you then. You've actually said something and then you're going to put the phone down if they don't like it. But anyway,
it is what it is.
I was just going to say, rewinding to Roxanne's statement about the Guardian piece, there's so many shout outs we ought to give in this. First of all, to James, Alex and Richard, who were the film crew, and the guys who must have got budget secured to go off to Denver. fair play to James for doing that, because imagine asking that question. You know, I need $4,000 to go to the States because I'm filming a flat Earth conference. Who are you now? So fair play to him for doing that. Let's try and remember a few names. I'm going to get shot now for forgetting some, but let's try and remember it. So
first and foremost, can I do
Mm.
first and foremost, big shout out, John Smith, Global Eye, Harry, because without Harry, Harry being in that tour bus, without him doing them weeks, it never would have happened. Only because there was no one else to facilitate being on that. But so without Harry was the pillar stone of that whole tour happening. And I just want to make a claim, actually. Those of you that interacted with the media will know, as I know, that they spoke to a lot more people, both sides of the pond, than ended up being involved in the end piece. Listen, I just want to say I had nothing to do with how that was edited. I can't speak for anyone else, but I was not consulted or anything with, you know, by the way, can we have that person and not have that? It just came out the way it came out. I wanted to say I was a little bit disappointed that Harry wasn't featured at all majorly in the piece, because it was a bit like a bit of a moment for me. It was like, this is why we have to do things ourselves. No disrespect to mainstream media, but we have to do things ourselves, because things won't end up coming out the way they should do. Do you know what I mean? And I know everyone's going to say it's the mainstream media. What do you expect? No, I didn't expect more, but I did expect for the person that was the man with the plan to be kind of
the
window
feature.
featured. Okay, so I don't want to be drab, and I definitely don't put a grey cloud over the subject, but it grinds my gears a little bit. And you know, Harry takes a well-deserved break, but
care of the camera's not on him, does he? You know, do you remember
I know.
the day you came to my house, I had the camera on him, but really he had the camera on all the time, and he likes walking around and filming and things.
Yeah, I know. I just think for all of us that were involved on the tour, we all know what Harry put into that tour. We all know what he put in. He put in everything he had energy-wise into that tour. And just shout out to Harry. Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on the list of names that are about to come out. And do you know what? I should have maybe prepared myself for that, because it would have been maybe 4 or 5 sheets of A4 paper from people that came out. But go for it.
The thing is, if you think about how James tried to structure his storyboard, what he was trying to do was say, I'm going to follow Roxanne Glenn around in this movement, and she's a fairly recent joiner to it, and let's see how some of the other people articulate what this is all about. And the backdrop was, you know, there's a tour going on up and down the country, and it's finishing here, and Roxanne has invited us to come and see it. So from there he went to Denver and picked up some of the conference delegates and spoke to some of the key speakers, and then he came back to the UK, I think. That's right. Sorry, no, there was some interviews done at the finale of the Global Eye Tour, some interviews in Denver, and then a wrap up. And it's quite a short.
Oh,
Robin.
Must go.
You're back. It's all good.
Sorry, you just disappeared for a tiny bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there now. Just say that last bit again.
Yeah, I don't think you normally get people's authenticity, and you get a sense of who is this person, and are they they seem to have integrity, and that I will applaud everyone who's on it for managing to achieve that, and for James to have captured it and the spirit of those names.
Oh, he's frozen again.
There's a clip with Ruth. There's 1 or 2 others doing some activism that they caught little snippets from. Then they went to the Global Life finale and caught some of Terry, Ranty, Chris UK, Ruben. And I'm trying to remember who else had a kind of speaking part. Roxanne, perhaps you can rack your brains before we go further. then we went to Denver and we caught Bob Nodell, of course, Dave Murphy. Dave Murphy had a piece all on his own before the finale. And then they caught Dave again in Denver, Bob Nodell, and again, one or two other guests, I think, at the convention. But like I say, the main achievement for me was you're seeing genuine people articulate their genuine reasons for coming to the conclusion that they don't live on a spinning ball. And what I loved about Bob Nodell's summary was he said, you know, I want to get out of this nightmare. I just want it to end, because we want everyone to wake up. And I thought that what a great way of disarming someone for belonging to a cult or another reason. You know, Bob, that's a very disarming way of killing that objection. And I thought, how can you watch some of those reactions and sentiments and still think that this is, because you could argue there were little bits of a cult, you know, this is a cult undertones, but I thought Bob and others went about it in a way which disarmed that. I'm trying to be objective, because it's very easy to slap backs and go, hooray, that was amazing. I actually think that it achieved way more than we expected, because like Roxanne said, she didn't have editorial control over it. I remember the day you got it, Roxanne, you went, I daren't watch it with fear and trepidation, because you're going to hopefully come across well. And I just want to, you know, applaud everyone who was part of it. You came across extremely well, and did us all proud.
Cheers, I appreciate that. Cheers.
Yeah, you're welcome. And what about Instagram? There's how many followers on Instagram?
What, Guardian? The Guardian?
The Guardian.
It just broke up. I didn't quite hear what you said. Did you say how many followers did the Guardian have?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I think they've got like 1.5 million followers on the Guardian. They've got it on their bio for the link on Instagram, and they've shared it on Instagram. I think they've shared it on more or less every platform, to be honest with you. The last time I looked on YouTube, I think it was approaching 60,000 views. And I think the last time I looked on Instagram, it was over 70,000 views on Instagram. And the previous story that had been released on The Guardian had 30,000 views.
Wow. It's getting shared about then.
Yeah. I think, you know, even if it's just eyes and ears where people are slowing down and just thinking, should I question what I've been taught? Should I? In whatever way. In whatever way.
Well,
That's really
it's not.
Well done.
It's been a great week, I think, just for that reason. It was such a nice surprise to get sent that. It's awesome. So well done, everyone. Well done, everyone. And well done to James and the team.
It made me look like some sorceress. That's what they made me look like in the photograph.
It's very difficult, isn't it, to try and...
They took loads of pictures. They took about 60 pictures of me, and I was thinking, and those were the best ones? Oh, my goodness. Well, no one's ever going to recognise me out there.
As Robin will tell you, there was at times where the cameraman was taking shots of us, and we didn't even realise he was taking shots. Does that make sense? So there was no way of telling... Some of the shots that they've taken, I don't even remember them standing where they were standing. I don't remember, you know, when Dave was at Speaker's Corner, don't remember seeing Richard standing there when Dave was there, but he was. Yeah. So I was like, were they filming it up? I know that they were filming because I remember seeing Alex at some points, but from the angle, I don't remember it the way I saw it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'll tell you what I remember on the Globe Live finale was when we played that Fleetwood Mac song with Little Lies and all the NASA chicanery was on the main screen. Richard was like, for 10 minutes. He was mesmerized by it. I think James and Alex were filming you, and Richard was just going, I'm
looking at it. Yeah, you did a good job. I will admit you did a great job. You kind of hit it home really quickly.
Well, it's
Well,
really
you need to.
it's coming out somewhere, because I think YouTube are trying to kill Flat Earth, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's
They're doing their best, aren't they? Although we seem to have sidewinded it, because apparently when you search Flat Earth into YouTube, the Guardian story comes up at the top. And I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Really?
nice.
Wonder how long that will last. 5 minutes, probably.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
think
yeah, what big week.
Do you think some of it's your own computer? Because when I looked up Flat Earth once, and I was gobsmacked to see Sun and Moon in the first row.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it might be then. Maybe it might be.
Anyway, let's not take away how good it is. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's Roxanne. And yeah, and on to the other subject, why Robin's come on today. What's happening, Robin, in September?
So I'm very, very excited. The excitement is palpable. It's building up every single week as we add more and more to it. But basically on September the 13th through to the 15th in Kidderminster, which is near Birmingham, we've booked a venue for the Globeli UK 2019 convention, which will start registration at 4 p.m. on the Friday. And it's going to be the culmination of Jason's UK leg of his, I'm going to get this wrong, 68 stop tour and 14,000 mile pan-European Globeli tour, which when I listen to that, I'm just already just thinking, wow. But the Friday night will be the Globeli finale. We will try and attract the press again, but we'll have a party afterwards, and we have some potentially exciting guests coming, and that I'm going to tease that and leave it there. And through Saturday and Sunday, we've got a packed schedule of speakers. The Pioneer Centre will be where we'll stay throughout the convention. They're purpose-built convention venue, so they've got staff on site, catering on site, accommodation on site, parking on site, and they've got quite a few things to do for children. So on this occasion, we're going to have a family-friendly convention. There'll be cluster rooms for 4 and 6 people, so you can book with your children. There are discounts for children. You get 0 to 4 children, 4 years old children will go free. 4 to 11 will go at half price. 11 to 16 will be 75% price. And the tickets will be presented on the feconvention.com website, which is shared with the Amsterdam convention. That's Gary and Dee Dee's event. We're collaborating a lot. We have regular conversations and hangouts to make sure that, if we have the same speaker, we're sharing things out, and we're making things easy for those that are coming to both events. And we're taking it in turns to release information. So every fortnight we'll be releasing a new speaker. And since the beginning of the year, I've announced that Paul on the Plane is speaking, Martin Leaker is speaking, and the lovely Roxanne will be my co-host. And we know, so Jason will also be speaking at the event, and he will assist with an activism workshop. And as the list of speakers build up, I'm sure you'll be more and more excited about the whole event, because it's a pretty packed schedule. We will see Jason and the tour bus off at around 1 o'clock on Sunday, so Jason can achieve some of his deadlines and getting off to the France and Spain and so on. But people should go on and have a look at feconvention.com, where all the ticket prices are shown. I could whip through a couple. So for instance, if you wanted the whole weekend and you could book as a single adult, that'll be £195, and that would include the whole convention, all of the speakers, a full set of meals taking you from Friday night all the way through to Sunday lunch, and the accommodation. So it's a pretty good price, £195. If you live locally, or you want to sort of book your own accommodation nearby, which I totally understand, the rooms are a cluster formation, so it might and you want,
Just
then
breaking up. Sorry, can you just say you just broke up for a little bit then again? It does that every so many minutes.
Right, so sorry about that. So starting again, if you were looking for if you were, say, a couple and you wanted to book your own accommodation, because at the Pioneer Centre it's set up for groups, really. So the bedrooms are kind of groups of 4 and 6. So you might be a group of guys, you can all share, that's no problem, you'll get a discount. If you're a group of girls, you could share, you'll get a discount. If you're a family, you could share and get a discount. Or if you're just good mates and you're quite happy to share a room, you can book a group of 2, 4 or 6 tickets and get a good discount. So if, however, that's not for you and you want to book your own accommodation, so say you fancy a nice hotel or an Airbnb or something just a bit more private off-site, you can do that. And you can book yourself a day ticket for £55, which should include all the meals and all the speakers, either the Saturday or the Sunday. And I'm just about to launch a new ticket for £20, which would be for the Friday night, which will include food, an evening presentation, and then we all go off-site for a party. Now, a bit more information on that. The party would be held at the George Hotel, Bewdley. That's spelled BEWDLEY. It's a lovely pub with very spacious interior, lovely beer garden, loads of like seating area inside and out. So regardless of the weather, they can easily handle.
How far away is that from?
Well, the actual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on a couple of coaches so we can just whip down there without worrying about drinking. And it'll be about a 10 to 12 minute drive. It's about 6 miles, 5 miles. Okay. So the George Hotel, Bewdley is possibly a venue people might want to book if they want to drink and leave the car there and just pick it up in the morning and drive back. Or anywhere near Bewdley might be a good idea, or in Bewdley might be a good idea if you're going to stay separate. Say you're a couple and you want to book your own discreet private place, then the George Hotel, Bewdley is a good place to start. But failing that, if you just go on booking.com or Airbnb, you'll see loads and loads of really nice apartments, B&Bs, all sorts of places that you can book. And I've noticed the prices are somewhere around £50 to £60, 70 tops for your average accommodation in the area. And if you really want to push the boat out, they've got a spectacular hotel nearby as well. So there's accommodation for everyone, ranging from £50, £60 for a couple in a double room in an Airbnb, right up to you could really splash out and do way over £100 for the night and go and stay in a nice hotel. So what I've done is I've set up the ticketing so you can make your decision about the accommodation. Now, for me, I'm all good staying on site. I want to be on site, and there'll be a handful of guys all in the same room. It's absolutely fine with me. But that might not be for everyone. So I just put that in.
One of your speakers in the chat room now, Martin Leakey.
Yay, Martin, and hi Jen, hi everyone. Super lead up. Just to recap, then you can either book a day ticket and sort your own accommodation out, or you could book a whole weekender as a single person, and the price point's £195, or you could get about a 10% discount if you go as a group. So if you're a group of 4, I think there's a duo price as well. You get a discount, and then there's even further discounts if you're happy to book direct with Charlotte and myself. We've set up a bank account just for the event, and if you're happy and you trust us to handle your payments, then we will give you the ticket price minus the Eventbrite fee, which is about 5%. So if you're a family and you've got children and you know us, come and book with us and we'll give you a pretty amazing discount. And then as time goes on, there's going to be more and more speakers announced. Roxanne and I have Roxanne and I have our next speaker on our podcast. So if you really want the ultimate scoop, you need to subscribe to our podcast, which is called Roxanne and Robin's Podcast, because they drop a few days before we premiere, and the premiere is roughly when we're due to release our launch. So the early birds can catch it on our podcast, and we're a little bit excited about the next couple, aren't we?
Yeah, we are indeed. Yeah.
So, well, Dee Dee and Gary have got this Friday. So every Friday we announce a new speaker. So it's Amsterdam's weekend this Friday, but next Wednesday we would we will do the premiere for our next speaker. And if you're really, really keen, you can catch it on our podcast on Saturday morning when I release it. So those that love Martin, we love you, Martin. You're in the chat room, aren't you? Those that love Martin, he'll be speaking Saturday night. So in a massive, then the tourist model on Saturday night is going to be amazing. So I guess people just need to stay tuned. There's a couple of ways you can do that. There's the feconvention.com website. But if you want the news as and when it drops, I'd recommend you go to Facebook and you like the FE Convention Facebook page. And from there, you'll get links to 2 different Facebook groups. If you want to chat with those that are coming and, just be involved with the group, then you can join 2 groups. One is called FE Amsterdam 2019, and the other is called Global Convention UK 2019. If you just start typing Global in Facebook, you'll see my group, and you'll also see Jason's Facebook page for the tour.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, Roxanne's going to speak, isn't she, as well?
Well, absolutely. She's speaking in Amsterdam, but I think I'm going to keep Roxanne's hands pretty full because she's going to be the chair with me, like the co-host.
Yeah.
For the convention. So it's pretty tough doing speaking and that job.
Yeah.
And there's quite high pressure to do 2 conventions back to back. So and she'll probably have her hands very full with the tour. So what I've tried to do with Roxanne is just, obviously people want to see her and hear her. So that's hopefully going to be as easy as, here's a few cue cards. Let's do some rehearsals and think about what we want to say. But beyond that, it's just introducing our guests and being a host. Yeah. So that's a lot easier, I think, than trying to be an actual speaker where there's a bit of pressure build up, and you'll be worried about the tour, I guess, or concerned about the tour,
or have my hands full with it as well. So yeah,
absolutely. So what I've tried to do is take all the kind of work away from Roxanne, but leave her with the bit that everyone wants to see, which is Roxanne sharing her relationships with everyone, because she knows everyone. She's just amazing at networking and building great relationships with everyone in the community. I don't know anyone who does it as well as you do.
I think, do you know what? I think one person I know that can relate to this is Karen. I think when you're trying to spread awareness, it's kind of part of the course, trying to speak to people instead of just typing messages to people. Does that make sense? I think that's like the basis of your channel, isn't it, Karen? The outreach and human interaction with people, and trying to share awareness about really important topics that are not given the light of day in so many other platforms.
And I guess what I'm saying is Roxanne's capability of coordinating things behind the scenes needs a strength of relationship, and that's where Roxanne comes into her own.
If there was anything I took from my day job, it was probably that. That's what I spent the best part of a decade doing in my day job. So if there was one thing that I did take from that, then that was it.
So we will announce more speakers, and what I want people to sort of.
Do you think you're going to get then?
Say that again. Sorry, Karen.
How many more speakers do you think are coming on then?
I'd have to open my little spreadsheet, but it's about 12 we've got to, yeah, it's about 12. So the beauty of this venue is there are 2 conference halls. So we can actually split out and do 2 concurrent presentations. So, you know, sometimes you might get a very advanced presentation that's going to go right over the heads of a newcomer who hasn't really absorbed much material yet. So it's really important that we cater for both audiences. I really want also, if it's possible, to have something for the youth. So there's a younger person's viewpoint on this. But let's say we have an activism workshop. That's certainly not for everyone. If we have a flat earth for beginners, again, that might not be for everyone, though I'm going to make damn well sure if the press are there, they get that one. And if we have an advanced one, and again, that's not for everyone, it might just be better to have a more fundamentals type presentation coexisting with the advanced one. So yeah, I'm trying to make it as Roxanne would say, a smorgasbord of information, a full menu of things to enjoy. But more than anything else, something that's always been at the back of my mind for this is about building community, and that happens more so in the in-between bits. So if you're able to share dinner with someone because you didn't have to walk very far, you were only walking 30 yards to your dinner table, then you've just saved 2 hours and probably 50 quid if you're in the centre of Birmingham, on the ability to just connect with new people. And yeah, this is not a bijou hotel with all the trimmings. This is very much a youth centre, church centre, but it's clean, it's tidy, it's hygienic, it's a nice place. You'll get to know loads and loads of people in a pleasant environment. And I forgot to mention, you know, there's a pool table, a football table, table tennis table, and a basketball court outside. And there's even 5-a-side football. Heaven forbid blokes go and have a game.
And separate to Flat Earth, we all talk to each other anyway, but they want that bit. They want to be able to talk to you.
Absolutely. So speakers and people who have become slightly prominent or got channels and never, you know, they've been watching for some time, subscribing, you know, you have a chance to connect. And I think that's what then builds loads more. I think it ignites new activity. It's the enabler and the Kickstarter for all sorts of new things. As lots of people will testify, you know, you went to the UK convention last year, and you've got small partnerships with guys who like photography and guys who like science. Well, brilliant. They're together now doing measurements and observations. Or you've got guys who like content creation, and there's a guy with a microphone and some editing software. And between them, they figure out how to make great content. And I you know, I'm sure that the likes of Nathan, Martin, and Anthony started their journey because they knew each other. And how did they know each other? They probably went to the Oxford meetup, and before that, Martin mentioned another one, didn't he, up in Herefordshire? It's the meetups that makes the relationship, because suddenly you know the person behind the screen and you feel much more connected. So for me, community building is really, really important. If we can say we went from 200 to 300 or 300 to 400 at a convention, we've made exponentially more connections. And
isn't it about getting more people to come out? Because I think there's a lot of quiet ones, isn't there? Obviously, there's a lot of people sitting in their house, or even just watch some of the hangouts or the videos. And this is about hopefully the people start coming out, because that's the only way as well, isn't it? If people come out.
Well, you know the word collaboration. You know, when you do a collaboration with someone. So, for instance, you could say that Roxanne, myself, and Jason are collaborating because we've all got a YouTube following, and we've also got a very aligned purpose and vision into what we want. And the raising of awareness is common throughout, and community building is a byproduct of what Roxanne and Jason are doing. at Speaker's Corner and at with the Globe Live tour. And for me, it's definitely raising awareness, because you can now take a friend to go and see a presentation, but also you can build community, because there's a natural gathering of new relationships that are going to spark amazing new things. I just know it will. And I want to just give a little story. Actually, a couple of days ago, this lady gave me a phone call, and she's called Julie from Hales Owen. So Julie, if you're listening, hi, yeah, how you doing? She gave me a call and she just said, I'm really interested in coming to the convention. I've been following Jason, Roxanne, Harry on the tour, and I really want to get involved and meet someone. And she said, and I said, okay, what got you involved in Flat Earth in the first place? She said, I did a bit of research myself. I went on YouTube and I saw a few videos, and then I followed the tour. And then after 18 months, I spoke to my husband. I said, did your husband take on board what you were saying? And she said, he was already a flat earther, but he just didn't tell me. So what is beautifully sweet about that is there's a couple now that are obviously joined in their understanding, despite being joined and not being understood, not sharing the understanding or being aware of it for some time. But now they're going to go to the convention and, you know, meet other flat earthers for maybe not quite the first time. I think they went to the Stoke. I think they went to the Stoke activism when the tour was going through Stoke. But I think it's really sweet. It's just really, really sweet that this couple are going to now come to the convention. And I wouldn't say that, you know, they've just discovered flat Earth, but they're certainly, you know, not taken a step forwards yet and meeting others and coming to a big event. So it's going to be awesome for people like those who will now reach out and find new friends. How good is that? I mean, how many of us expected, I speak for myself, you know, age 50 to go and find some new friends? It doesn't normally happen that way, does it? You normally get your friends either at work or from school as you're growing up.
Unfortunately, most of us now with the flat earth thing, these friends we might have had for 30, 40 years, we don't really have anything in common with the ones that we've had.
Yeah, you've got to shed a few. It's a different experience, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, my phone's a new phone making noises. Yeah, yeah, so you want to be speaking with people who are more like you.
100%. And I think, you know, we talk about energy and wavelength, but it's absolutely true. If you walk into a room where people are resonating with a different wavelength and it's on your wavelength, then you all go out buzzing, whether you like it or not. You don't need a drink. You're absolutely buzzing anyway. But a drink is nice to have as well.
It's almost like when you watch even the one in America, it's almost like they're naughty little children out in public. Because most of it's done on the internet, isn't it? We're all on screens, and then when you meet up, oh, all big smiles like we're little children.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely see that happening. I can see, you know, people because they're in the same place, going through the same experience, and a lot of people will have come from a, you know, similar journey. You've already got loads and loads in common, and because you're not now battling with people challenging you all the time, you can drop your guard and relax. And you can have a good time. You know, you can now go, oh, thank God I'm in a safe space.
Yeah,
that sounds reserved for some of the left and liberals in some of the universities, but what I mean in a genuine sense is, you know, you can enjoy someone's company genuinely.
It's more like
because you're on the same page.
When I went into that shop today and I was trying to tell these two sort of younger guys, and you could see by their faces that they stopped and they were like going, what the hell is she on about? Oh, I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. No, it's just, yeah, there are still many people who are not awake, who haven't fought. Because if they actually knew it was a lie, they wouldn't want it. It's because they think they're being told the truth. and they're not.
Right.
Well, I want people to know that it's a safe place to bring their partner, where there'll be no judgment or mocking of anyone who's not yet awake. So I want people to feel that it's super safe and inclusive and welcoming and friendly. In fact, I've started to write out some of the roles for some of the kind of help that I need on my team. So one of the I'm going to have a steward role where it'll be a massive welcome, a big meeting, a big welcome party of people who are just switched on to what's going on, know what the schedule is, where to go for things, but just make people feel welcome. You have a smile, shake hands, say hello, all those good things, just to make newcomers think, okay, this is a civilized space. I'm feeling welcome. I'm feeling valued, and not just some weird event where I've got to find a corner to hide in. You can apply the same principles to any networking event, really, to this. And that's what I want to do. I want to give a role to the stewards to help with the meet and greet, the registration, and just being around to help, because that's a kind of supportive role that I want.
That's my part then, isn't it?
Yay. Happy days.
We'll have to talk about these things as time moves on. But I've got, well, yeah, we will, Robin, don't you worry.
Absolutely.
Oh, we've lost him for a second there.
Not a problem.
Oh, you're back again. Every about 5-10 minutes, it does this dipping thing in your internet.
Yeah, so sorry. I'm having not a great night. Never mind.
Robin, I bet you didn't think that you'd be doing this 6 months ago, did you? Hello? Oh, he's frozen again. Are you there, Roxanne?
I sure am.
Okay, just checking, because sometimes it could be me that's frozen. No.
So far, I'm here.
Oh, it's all sounding very good.
Cool.
And all nice and calm.
Mm.
Oh dear, he's really frozen this time. He should just come back.
Oh no.
It was really weird last week. No, it was when Josh Stone came on. Corey, Josh Stone, and there was someone else, all had microphone problems.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I'm not going to complain about my setup this evening because so far so good. So.
Yeah, and the next night someone else had a problem on their microphone. It's like, what? No.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, he's sort of there.
Yep, we can hear you ish. Yep.
Oh,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I'm going to snatch this bit of internet connection. So Gary announced probably, I think it was November or October last year, I'm not going to do one next year. And I'm so glad he picked up the baton again and did Amsterdam. But in that sort of 2-3 months, I decided I can't let that happen. It was one of those things where I knew I could do it, or at least I thought I could.
Hello? Roxanne, are you there?
I still am here. Yep, I'm here.
Oh no, what's happened? He's a black. He's just a black square on the Hangout. Oh, he's coming back.
Oh, doubling up.
Double trouble.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. So I couldn't let go. And I think I can just need some help. And, talking to Jason during that moment was quite important because they gave me a lot of moral support and some help. And I spoke to Charlotte and she said, you. So.
No.
Keeps cutting out, Robin.
Robin.
There you go. Yeah, this year. I just didn't expect it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just messing around a little bit. The other
Sorry,
icon's
I'm
still
gonna
up,
kill
and
one.
it's making it worse. Maybe cut your camera, because that takes a bit of the bandwidth. Cut your camera, Rob.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, good shout. So basically, I'm just building slowly, step by step, and no way would have I expected to have been doing this time last year. But it's an absolute delight now, especially since the tour has been announced and Amsterdam's been announced. It's snowballing now, and it's way bigger than just one person. It's huge. It's just going to get bigger and bigger all year.
Yay.
Which is fantastic. And I can sense the excitement because people ring in and people email, and there's definitely a lot of excitement building. I think come sort of March, April, when people really start to think, right, I'm going to book my tickets now. We're going to have a big flood of people.
That's really good. I'm really excited for you, and a nice man organising it too, because you couldn't get better than that.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're right. In the flat earth world, Robin, you are a gentleman.
Thank you, Karen. That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's also some very nice other people in the chat room. Like when you say you meet people, I met Martin Leakey a few years ago now at the Space Centre, and he called me Ka within seconds. All right, Ka. Lovely in person, Martin. He's just lovely. It's like you've always known him in person.
Yes, sweet.
Aww.
Super sweet. Well, that's what people need to latch onto. Is you're going to meet loads more people who you resonate with. Who you're going to get on with. It's bound to happen. You're in a big room. You might know some people already. Or you might know their channel, or you might have heard of them. You get a chance to meet them. How good is that? And Roxanne and I have got a few secrets up our sleeves about who's coming too. So, hey, I'm telling you now, guys, when you hear, you're going to want to come.
Christopher Martin said in the chat room he's met me twice. Yes, I've met you twice, Martin.
So, yeah, I mean, you only have to think about everyone's numbers this time last year. How many channels were out there? How many subs were attached to those channels? How many meetups were there last year? How many people are now going to those meetups?
I think last year I was saying the same thing. What we were having last year, we weren't having anything last year, and this year we've got all this. It has, in a way, taken off to how many events are happening. I mean, with people like Roxanne, Speakers Corner, the other conventions across the pond, it has picked up. But I just think that it's just still frustrating, isn't it, to like Roxanne experiencing her own son disappearing right in front of her, and then there's all these other people just doing all this stuff, and you just it's just, or not even care.
Well, let me just tell you something about the power of exponential growth. So if you had 10,000 quid and you made it grow by 30% every year, in 20 years you'd have over £1 billion. Did you know that? So if your pot you never took out of it, but you made it grow by 30% per year, in 20 years you have over £1 billion. Now let's think, if I was responsible for growing more flat earthers by 30%. So really, I've only got to do, say, let's say 2 or 3 a year. Then that's way more than 30%. That's 300%. So if we all did our bit and just created 2 or 3 flat earthers a year, I'm telling you, the numbers are spectacular. They just go up like a hockey stick. And when we spoke to Brendan Daly, I remember him saying, yeah, I'm trying to make it 4 or 5 a day. And when you got guys out there doing stuff like that all the time, then, he's a warrior. He's absolutely, on fire all the time, or most of the time. I'm sure he is. Pretty much every day he's out there. But think about the breadcrumbs that David Gessner leaves behind him, and Roxanne does when she's on the train. You you won't know who you've converted, because as with all connections, you might need 7 or 8 exposures to this subject before you actually flip over. And I just think, you know, if we can be responsible for, I don't know, 2 or 3 flat earthers a year each, that's totally achievable. We'll grow massively, really quickly, for that reason. So I'm never disheartened, because I know that there's loads of seeds getting planted, you know. And just think about the number of eyeballs that saw that tour bus last year. There's going to be tens of thousands. And literally thousands in every town, or hundreds in every town. Certainly Bristol. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, you know, at least 500 to 1,000 eyeballs saw those banners. At least,
yeah,
100%. And then there's all the sharing of material afterwards. You know, the live streams and Harry's show reels afterwards and things like that. You know, there's so many knock-on effects from doing something like that it lives on through the material. And that's what I love about video content, is it's constantly creating new engagement. It's not like, do you know what, Instagram stories, I really don't get them. They're there 1 minute and gone the next. It's like, what? Why do we have Instagram stories? Is it to create a slave out of us, so we got to do one every day?
It's a nightmare. I don't keep up with it every day. I can't.
My son's got a business where he needs to do it every day, and I was thinking, no, I don't get it. What about the YouTube video that stays up there forever? But back to my point, all the flat earth content lives on forever and just keeps growing and growing more of an audience. So, you know, I hear your frustration, Karen, but I think there's a lot going on in the background that you're just not aware of. Conversations behind closed doors. People
that's what I'm saying. That's why we then want them to come out, because everybody's doing this privately and low key and hoping that more people will come out, because it's the only way. More attention it gets, if the more people come out and it gets bigger.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely.
It's moved on. In 2018, it moved on drastically with venues and things. But it's just not fast enough, because I'd love it if Trump stood up and told the truth. But anyway, never mind.
We can wish, can't we?
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting all stuck into the Brexit thing, aren't we, at the moment? So that seems to fill the airways. When I was working today, it was on in the background. Everybody's listening into that one.
Brexit ain't going anywhere.
Talked about another referendum today. It's like, oh my goodness gracious me.
They won't get one. I listened to Richie Allen, and he said about a year and a half ago, Brexit will never happen. They'll just kick the can down the road, make up another clause that says, oh, we can decide later, and everyone will just get so fed up they'll forget about it. And what a spoiler tactic that was. Hey ho, never mind, we'll stay in the EU after all. Oh, how much do we owe you again? 150 billion. Thanks.
It's farcical.
No, yeah, it's just a merry-go-round. So are you, Keith?
Sorry, Robin? Robin, what did you say?
I was asking you. You can't hear me? I'll take the video off.
Yeah,
I'll take the video off. I was just asking, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, just bills and work really at the moment, and doing lots of videos.
You are. Did you do any more mudflood ones in Chippenham or Swindon?
Well, we had Marie Wheatley on the other day, and I don't know, she's not a flat earther, but she's becoming a friend, and she's a really nice person, and she's not a flat earther, but she comes on our channel. We don't really talk about that, but she's got so much information, and she's such a nice person. I was saying, well, on the Hangout, it seems that nearly every castle, not every castle, but a lot of the castles in the UK have pyramids in them. And she said, yes. And I was expecting her to say, don't be silly still, you know, because she's not a flat earther. But she said, oh, yes, most of them do. And she carried on talking. And I thought, I don't know why I didn't see these things before, but I do now. And then, you know,
great.
a little castle up the road from me called Donington Castle, but it really looks like the size of a church, although it did have turrets and things all over it. And, you know, just looking at it all, and somebody done some photography here, it's on a star fort. Nobody will really know around here it's sitting on a star fort. So I thought that was amazing.
Wow.
So star forts come for all these chunky castles, although even those turrets had flat sides to them on the inside. And, you know, but the thing is, it would have been a very small castle, but they make it look like it's an enormous one. And you think, oh, Donington Castle. It's very important because of the Magna Carta. That was the second battle that was to do with that. So that's why it is quite important. But anyway, and then I went to Highclere Coast, which happens to be Downton Abbey, and just looking at some of the people that live there, you know. Yeah, just trying to see. But again, everything seems to be almost like turrets, you know, square ones. They're not maybe as high, because in castles and things like that and towers, they're high, but everything's still be more or less the same shape, or round or square.
Awesome. Well, I think Martin had a hangout on Globebusters on Sunday, didn't it? It was epic. It was huge.
Yeah, he's epic. And I'm so pleased for Martin. Really am pleased for him. I would like to say this, though. I don't think there was a church on Glastonbury tour at all. That was always a tower. I mean, where's the rest of the church? I mean, looking at GoPro filming above, and just, you can see it's just a tower. And actually, what it really looks like, it looks like a dirty Great Pyramid, like an enormous one with the tower on top, because that tower is on top of that cap. And then whatever's sticking out the back is a bit similar, but much bigger to what's at Silbury Hill. There's two of those things sticking out of Silbury Hill, but they're smaller. You know, like it looks like a positive and a negative if you had to put it into, sorry, my phone, what you think it is. So, yeah, I just feel that, because what it is they said that it was a church, and in those days, the people used to sail there to the church. But when the sort of clouds had come in, the mist had come in, it was a bit like this helicopter, you know, sorry, GoPro thing, what do you call it, drone thing had gone up, and then it was a bit like, well, the cloud covered everything and there was nothing, there was no land. There was no land, so where were they sailing from? You know, it was a tower, and obviously in those days they knew what it did. It gave out energy and things, and that's why it was there.
So much good content coming out though these days. If you think about all the books that Martin and John Levy and all those guys are now reviewing, imagine if someone's now got the time to recreate a compendium in a book, and you could go and buy the book. Because I'm slightly worried for all the video content. You know, I know Martin's backing his up, but we need to have this back in book form. And, you know, imagine someone doing a worldwide tour of all the star forts and, and doing an inventory on those and sort of cataloguing what's going on.
Yeah, imagine.
Because
it's like an alternative history, isn't it? I mean, you know, like I looked up about the organs in churches. I mean, some of these organs are hundreds of years old, and I mean, it looks a little bit like in these churches. It looks like 5G on the walls, to be honest. And then there's like, what's the difference with all the Gothic churches, or what they call Gothic churches? What are they? They're so different to the other sort of churches, castles. They're so different. And it's like, this is like, I think as well, what most people don't realise is we're all sort of know that they knock some of it down, but they've been knocking down a bit like the Chicago Fair and the World Fair in America. They said they built this whole place in a year. It had hundreds of buildings in it. Some of these, but 1886 or whatever it was, I think that was the year, somewhere like that, 1881, whatever it was then, or 1883, sorry, get it right. And then some of these buildings were 9.5 acres big. They were building them in those days. So basically, it's a bit like they look so Roman, Tartarian, you know, the whole thing or whatever. And then Tesla won. Okay, he won the competition. But the thing is, they said a storm came in and then it burnt the whole place down. And I'm thinking, was it Tesla? But anyway, Yeah, the whole place went except for a few buildings, and they've been destroying these places for ages. And that's what the house, Bowood House, the other one is, because they always talk about you're in the wing of the house. So I used to think, well, how big's the house then? And I
Yeah,
never saw a picture of it.
I saw your
Well,
video on that. I've been there before. Yeah.
The house was quite big, but the wing is enormous. It was twice as big as the house, just not twice as high. It was very long. And actually, there were scientists in there. The one that found oxygen, or what oxygen was, he was in there. So why don't they tell us the truth? And it's like they said they had to knock the house down because it was too expensive. But if you have no money, you wouldn't knock it down, would you? Just board it up. So they've been destroying these houses and these things. Again, that had great big pillars on it. Always pillars. Even if it might look a bit Russian at times and whatever, but it's always got these pillars.
Yeah, it's common architecture, isn't it? And I've been there loads of times with the kids. But now, if I ever went back, I think I'll take another look.
I know, you look at it so different. And then when I went to Lithuania, which is where my daughter-in-law comes from, they've got a Leaning Tower of Pisa as well.
Have they really? Interesting.
Yeah. Not quite the same. It's still a Leaning Tower.
The amount of new information coming out now is so exhaustively sort of researched, because you have to dig through all these old books, don't you? You have to rifle through and try and make sense of them quite often. And it's what I love is these guys doing the research must have astonishing curiosity, to want to go through it all and find out what's happening, what's occurring.
I think actually when you do it, there is actually a massive information, but you've got to find it, because it won't say flat this, flat. You'll find it under that person's name, only if you know that person's name originally. Then it gets put on a video, or it gets onto Facebook, or it gets onto YouTube or other places. Then it's different. I mean, for instance, changing the subject just a little bit about the subject, but Victor Schauberger, like all those months we were looking into the fuel on planes and the hoax and everything. And, when I put my videos up, some of the comments weren't very nice, you're an idiot with some of the nicer ones. And then now, months later, comes Victor Schauberger, who actually was the person who made the engine, who made the compressed air thing. It was him. He was watching birds. He watched, because basically the air's got electricity in it, and he was watching how the birds fly and what they did. And so basically that's how he made the engine. And the person, if you don't know who he is, if you ever look at all that stuff with Hitler, with all the circular sort of spaceship looking things, he's the one that did with the levitation. Anyway, after the Second World War, he was sort of scooped up by the Americans, and he didn't want to stay there. He went home. 5 days later, he was dead in 1955. But again, so now it is true. They've lied to us about fuel on planes. Might be a bit on there, but there isn't what they're saying. And the planes are free energy working, and they're using the air.
It is crazy. Wow. Have you seen that? Have you seen that live antenna just buzzing away? I think it's in Japan. A video that did the rounds a few weeks back, and it seems to be a live electromagnetic energy collector out of the ether, and it's actively collecting it, buzzing away, and humming as well, making a real humming sound. It was blowing me away. I was thinking, crumbs, if we could go there and find out how that's done, we'll all be well, maybe not quids in, but we'll certainly share the information out amongst ourselves. Not sure I really want to patent something like that and go public with it. Might be a short-lived experience, but I'll certainly share it amongst my friends. It's all exciting stuff, and just going back to this research thing, it's so cryptic. Some of it, you need to have that kind of, I don't know, you can do the Telegraph cryptic puzzle crossword to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Because so many dots to join and
But imagine
sort of
telling
surreal
everybody
pictures.
that that was a church and that people used to sail there when it was nothing ever to do with that at all.
I know. I remember Martin's
I don't
clip.
think it takes that long either, because if you imagine, it's only the 1960s when they actually turned us into a ball. So they've made everybody believe that it's 500-600 years ago, when really it wasn't. It was like 1900s, the whole of the 1900s. They were slowly doing it, but it was the 1960s they turned us. Now, imagine how much programming's gone in that people don't think it's new, something new. It's only a couple of generations of people. It was still on the internet until the late 1990s. On the internet, you can find documents and groups, but the late, sort of in the middle 1990s, it was killed off. And so people didn't see it until maybe 2000, what is it, 14, say? So there's a sort of a miss of 20 years. And in that 20 years, people now think, oh, it's something new. But it isn't. But it looks it for, because you can't, there's no video. They've just stopped. The internet wasn't, well, it was going, but in the last 20 years, now everybody's got a computer. So that was before. And yet it's only so many years. Do you see what I mean? So you imagine what they give when they do something for 200-300 years. You imagine how much you just can't put it together now, because they then stick the lies in there.
I know. It's hard to it scrambles my brain to think what is the sequence, what is the true sequence of things, because we've got to figure it all out now, because we know it's all a fabric of lies. So we've got to try and that's why the creative minds come into their own, because they're looking at these really surreal pictures in some cases and going, I've seen that before. I've seen that image before, or I've seen a character like that before, or I've seen a symbology like that before. And then they start to join the dots, and credit to everyone who's doing that, because it takes so much time and a creative mind to join the dots. So fair play.
Well said. Well said.
And that's why I'm looking forward
Some
to
of it does happen quite quickly there, doesn't it? Just one video and you think, why didn't I see this before? It's amazing. It's like someone's flipped a switch. It's incredible, really, isn't it?
I love the collaboration that's going on as well. So people are just sharing information and building on each other's work and agreeing, you take this, I'll take that. And it's really good. And doing, hangouts together where they're just chatting through things is fantastic.
I think some people are getting a bit frustrated though, because like you say, you're having to learn a lot of stuff about stuff, and then change your mind again and learn more stuff. Because obviously, maybe till a couple of weeks ago, Roxanne thought the sun was like that. Now she's been out with Dave Marsh. She'll say, right, well, it's something different. You're always rethinking, having to stay open.
Yeah.
But not everybody's like that. I have to say, one thing that I was going through a hangout, and it had permission to exist. It was to do with narcissism. Roxanne was actually there on that one. And she basically said that she felt that those that are narcissistic don't have the empathy chip. There's some people who've got the empathy chip, and a lot of people don't. And then those ones that don't, most of those are quite narcissistic.
Yeah,
so
it sounds sensible. It sounds sensible, yeah.
And we're quite a narcissistic society now. I'm horrified with some of my children, what they think and feel. And I can't do anything now, because they weren't like that when I was bringing them up. They knew what kind of person what I am, but they're all into money and egos, and everything is just drink. And I don't know, I was never really like that. I think I was a mum quite early on in my life, and that's the way it was.
Well, it's a tough one, because like the lady who rang me yesterday, she said her kids are rolling their eyes at her now, because they're kind of grown up kids, like 20 plus, and it's quite a challenge for all of us who are parents, that we found out way beyond school years, and now we've got to go back and rewind and say, actually guys, this is what we should have been teaching you when you were younger. And that's quite a hard thing to do. Fair play to Roxanne for getting her two children through. But it is quite challenging. You know, my kids, some are on board and some roll their eyes. So I've got a mixture in my house.
Well, because they probably think school's coming, and that's pretty boring, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they've been to school, they've finished, but they are mixed reactions. So one sits on the fence, one went, yeah, okay, that makes sense, and one is kind of not bothered. So it just depends, really. I think they've seen me do so much flat Earth stuff. They kind of they just leave it to me now. And I've probably shared too much in the past, but hey ho.
Yeah, you're changing a little bit now. You're getting more statesmanly, like.
Yeah. Well, it's a gradual thing, you know. I don't want to force it down my kids' throats, and I don't want them to think this is some kind of weird group of people. I'd just rather
Unfortunately, though, they do. That's exactly what they think, isn't it? Until you wake up, that's what they think of you.
I also, you know, they've got more pressing issues, like you say, or mine have anyway, and they're just figuring themselves out first, and this stuff comes second. You know, it'll come though. It will happen. It's just my way of doing it is probably more patient and slow than others.
Well, when you're organising something like you do, you probably need that very much, because you couldn't have somebody that was losing it every 5 minutes. Then nobody wanted to be a part of it.
No, they're good as gold, really. I mean, one of my sons is a content creator himself, and we share ideas on how to do content, and the other one's out all the time. But when he comes in, he nods his head at what I'm doing, and he's polite and is all good about it. And my daughter's kind of, she's the one who converted me, actually, accidentally, because she had a friend at work and came home from work one day and said, my friend thinks the earth is flat. So it's kind of her fault, really. But she's good as gold. She doesn't challenge it too much. I've shown her loads of stuff and she's nodded her head, and she's not stupid. So it's whether they're willing to accept it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but right now, what's more important to them? Probably meeting with their friends and going for a drink.
Absolutely. There's more important
That
things
doesn't
for
mean
her.
all young people are like that. Some are very interested in flat Earth. I think it's the empathy side again, isn't it? It's not so much like to say, they could say, yeah, I believe in it, and then you don't, you know, maybe you don't have to talk massively about it, as long as there's this empathy thing, and you go, yeah, they do. I know they do. It's great. But you don't get that, do you? You know, you know. Oh, here they go again. But once you're flat, you can't.
worries.
It's like it's in us, isn't it, to keep trying, whichever way we do it, to communicate this out.
You have to, and you have to find it. It's like a little bit like sales, isn't it? You've got to try different channels and different messages and different techniques, and you just keep testing until you find the right sweet spot. And you know, for me, when I look at flat Earth, I think, well, there's got to be some low hanging fruit, and there's got to be people that are easier than others to go and reach, rather than knock heads with the hard nuts. I mean, I commend anyone who can do that, but they're going to take the longest, be the hardest and the toughest. And maybe people see that as a challenge, and fair play. But return on investment, I'd rather go into, you know, the street where people come to us with a banner because they've seen a message that suddenly made them stop, and engage in a nice, pleasant conversation and see where it takes you. That's more effective, because they walk away with a flyer and go, that was interesting, I'll look into that.
Which bit do you like the most then? All of it now, because you're doing so much, aren't you? You're doing that, you're doing this, physicist.
I've stopped talking to people who want to do the proof the globe thing, because it's quite time consuming, and I'm not sure how productive it would be. If someone wants to coordinate another hangout and try it again, I'll be okay with that, but I'm not actively investing time in that now. I've got to focus on the convention. I think for me, the bit that is by far the most rewarding is when you're actually sharing information with someone new. That's the most rewarding. And if I can create more people who enjoy that, then out the convention, then that's a result as well. So I enjoy, I enjoy day-to-day conversations when I can have them. That for me is the best. But of course, I like creating content, and the podcast we're doing at the moment's really cool. We're having some good times with that, and just sort of rubbing shoulders with Jason with his tour as well is really exciting. We're just doing a bit of branding today, thinking about our brand. What are we going to put on our pop-up banners and our social medias and everything else? We're going to try and align our branding. So I quite like that. That's quite good fun.
Yeah. It's like one of the nicer tasks.
So and more talks. If you like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a meet-up this Saturday, so if anyone watches this and thinks, what am I doing this weekend? Saturday night, the Punch Bowl Tavern, 6 p.m. in Bristol. You're very welcome to come and join us.
Nice. And I'll be at Speaker's Corner on the last Sunday of this month, and if you want to come down there, you're more than welcome to join us too.
Awesome. And Charlotte has sent her apologies. We didn't really give her enough time to react, so it's my bad. That's my bad, Karen. I think she'll come on again though if we ask her. So Charlotte's meetup is the last Sunday too, but in Halesowen. So if you're in the Midlands or in the Northwest or Wales, and you can get across to Halesowen, then that's the place to go. 6 p.m. at the Hope Centre.
Great stuff.
Yay. Yeah, I'm going to try and arrange something with Marie Wheatley to go to the Stones Circle. Probably try and film it. Probably best to do that than actually do it on a hangout, because we'll be moving around a bit. But we're going to go and do that. A few of us are going to do that. In a few time, because the weather's not very nice right now.
That sounds interesting.
Hopefully the weather will pick up a bit. Hopefully. I haven't looked at the long range weather, but I'm willing it to be better.
So far, although it's a bit damp and not very nice, and has been a bit cold, it hasn't really been the coldest of winters so far, has it, really? It got a bit horrible last week, didn't it? It was a bit chilly last week.
It was like I was borderline hypothermic last week. That was insane.
It was cold last week, yeah.
Mikey. It was too much.
But we haven't really had a cold winter altogether, and the nights are getting lighter. Yay! Yay! Oh, I'm not very good on the dark nights. You know, when it's getting dark at 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I don't like that.
No, it's certainly changing now. It's nice to get out twice with a dog in the light. I must just make a comment about the chat room. There's so many lovely people in there, and it's way more than the 5 that is that YouTube has decided is in the chat room. It's quite funny.
Yes, I saw that. I was going to say something afterwards. Yeah.
Shout out YouTube for censoring.
Yeah, definitely censoring.
3 people in the chat room right now, but I'm not seeing 3. I'm seeing more than 3. Are we all seeing this? There's like 3 people in the chat room, but there's more. You couldn't make this up, could you? Well, this is a first. I've never seen this before. This is new.
Yeah, it's happened to us before. Right, in the chat room, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's 20 people, including me, in the chat room, and then there's all those that just watch.
Yeah, Jason's there, right? Brilliant. Raw Poets there. Chilster Deluxe there. Sean Hutton. Hi.
Yeah,
Public Science Research. Amanda Panda. Mariner Spirit Level. Martin Leaker. John Watson. Chilster Deluxe. Marve, Joe Mama, Markovsky, Conscious Vegan, Roxanne, me, Karen.
Yep.
YouTube.
I did say though, didn't
You
I,
got
that
it
there
wrong.
was something wrong on the Hangout. Like there's no view count on the Hangout. I don't know. I can't remember as
The
a guest.
trouble is, people do look at how many people are watching and make a judgment call, don't they? And that's what's going on. Is if they mark that down, it doesn't appear as worthwhile as joining in. So, it's so
the view
funny.
count is always on the main panel. Well, I don't see one, but we had a Hangout with Robert Forsh. And what it was is he came on saying, look, if things don't work out on this Hangout, don't be sad. I just don't. I think they're starting to have it in for me, you know. And then we tried to get the first Hangout going, and that wouldn't happen. And when the second one started, it was the same thing. There was all these people in the chat room, and it took an hour for it to register one viewer.
Wow.
And that was never like amended. The total didn't finish with the right amount on it. Only showed like a measly amount of people had watched it when many, many more people had watched it, and they never put the figures right.
Out of order.
Yeah, I remember. Roxanne, I don't know if you remember, but I took a screenshot of your channel stats using Social Blade once. I think it was about a month and a half ago. And one day in a month, you had minus 5,100 minutes on a certain day. Minus 5,100 minutes.
What does that even mean?
So exactly, how can you have a red number, a minus number on your view stats? I took a picture of it, so I might have it on the phone if you ever want to see it again. But it is like complete fuckery going on. Excuse my French.
No, it's liberties. Straight up liberty. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
It's horrific. You know, that's just, yeah.
Isn't that bad?
What can we say?
It's what we're up against, isn't it? Sad.
Well, I really think they've got it in for my group because so many people seem to know who we are. It's just, I don't know.
Ridiculous.
Well, you just keep putting it on. Just keep putting on your shows, Karen, because you are connecting people all the time. You're raising awareness. You're building relationships. You're doing all the things. We're doing all the things that we all want you to do. So just keep going.
Yeah. Despite what those view counts are saying, keep on going.
Well, we decided a long time ago we weren't doing it just to get a view count. You know, we were hoping, you know, obviously things pick up and that, but we were just putting it out to those that wanted to be there. But it is a bit discouraging when, you know, you work many hours on it and all they're trying to do is...
That's why they do it. I think that's why they do it, because they think it will demoralize people and stop them from making content.
But thanks, Amanda, in the chat room. That's kind of you to say. Well, I would just say it encourages me more because everyone in the chat room is now aware of what's going on. There's way more than 4-5 watching. There's way more, and that story will now permeate into the community, and people will be aware of it now, and they're just going, okay, so what, and carry on.
Proceed onwards.
Oh, I was going to do. I haven't come on the right one. It won't let me do it. I was going to screen share and put the chat room on, but I haven't come on Google, so it won't let me do it. 1, 2. Yeah, in the chat room, actually, that are sitting there in the chat room, there's Amanda Panda, Bogan, there's Brandon, Chilster, Gary John, GoPro Keith, Jin, John, there's Lee Redpath, there's you, Robin, Marvey.
Shout out chat room. Massive
Mark
love
to
in the chat room.
Lee, Martin Truelove, Mr. Mensa, Rose Tinted, obviously Roxanne, Sean, me, Super Leeds, and Ute. That's sitting in the chat room.
Yeah, actually making comments, yeah. So
and we're all observing that. I'm observing it. We're all observing it.
And Raw Poet. And I was going to say,
there's nowhere to go and do anything about it. And by the time you've done it and waited 6 weeks for your answer, we've kind of moved on rather a lot since then.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you to do a shout out to Jin, Roxanne, because when you said when I said it's not going to stop us, and you just said keep on moving. What I want you to say for Jin is roll on.
Roll on the flat earth revolution.
That's very good, Roxanne. Very good. That's what
that was for you, Jin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure
that
if
was
he's
for
there
you, Jin.
I'm not sure if he's there in the chat room now.
He
But
might.
yeah.
Might be.
You're on, so hopefully
He
you
is,
heard
he's
that.
there.
The chat room's going
That
mad, and now it's moving
There he is.
so fast. I can't keep up with it.
There's only 2 people watching.
Is there?
That's one now. I've got one.
Can't keep up with the chat room. There's 1 person watching.
Oh,
They're really
mine
trying to
says-
make it sound crazy, aren't they? They really are.
come on, Roxanne, come on. Mine says 3.
Can the 3 of you slow down? We can't keep up with the chat room. Big up the chat room. Amanda 69, Lee, DJ Black, Oi, Martin, Jason, Gary, Mark. There's way more than 3 in the chat room. This is a joke.
There's Darla in there now. Tell everybody they're lying. They're lying about the figures.
Right, real talk. What are we going to do about this? As in the bigger picture, what are we, the people, going to do about this? Yeah, Martin, they are
Martinica
so
said
busted.
Can I just say though that somebody Bling Bling, she said because she likes doing her nails, you know, she looks at a lot of nail tutorials, and she said that they're all doing the same thing. They're saying I'm losing my chat room or my figures are going. So it might not be just directed at Flat Earth, but it's definitely happening.
It's liberties, absolute liberties. Massive love to everyone that's in the chat room. Massive love to everyone that's liked it and shared it.
Thanks everybody, all of you, all 2 of you.
And the rest of our imaginary friends, big up yourselves.
Yeah, well, it's a bit annoying because it might be because of the conference, you know.
Yeah, possibly. You know, I was having a chat with myself in this chat room because there's only here apparently. And,
Even me and Roxanne and Patricia aren't here either.
This is weird.
All on your own, Robin.
apparently, I'm all on my lonesome, and all these are ghosts in the chat room, and they're not really here.
No, that's it.
But it is horrible. It happens more than once, and it happens more than occasionally. They're doing something. They're doing something all the time, you know. It is a bit annoying, really.
Well, I'm going to make a little video out of it. I don't know, a little 2-3 minute video, just showing the chat room laughing and having a giggle about it because it's so clearly not the case.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, obviously anything Roxanne does or you do to do well, so it's a bit annoying, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
It's Comedy Central. It's Comedy Central.
Yeah, it is.
But it will be once Robin's got his hands on it. Yeah, and then 20 million people watch your video.
Well, let's make a little 5-minute edit go viral then when it's clear what's 2 watchings. You got a nice is that euros? Yeah, it is a €2 donation from Marvin.
That person puts this little bits of money in every so often. They're amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant.
Very sweet of you. Now the chat room. See, how can there be 2 in there? I can't even the chat room.
Ridiculous.
There's Jin. Roll on. The Flat
and
Earth
also,
Revolution.
you notice that you might suddenly one day you'll get 5 or 6 subscribers, and then that day you lose 6. You know, like
they're very weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, I'm just gonna ignore the stats and keep going because.
Nice to say, before you came on, Robin, obviously Roxanne was on a little bit earlier than you. We were talking about this, and even some of the bigger channels, it's like their whole, not Martin Leakey, he's doing really well, but a lot of the chat rooms have completely dropped off.
Yeah, it's really weird. Really weird. Not quite sure what to say.
You've seen
It's
it
like
as well.
they've just all, you know, taken a nosedive, haven't they?
I think they did something to the algorithms so that it's almost impossible, unless you're extremely lucky, to actually get any subs.
Mm.
Oh,
Doesn't work out anymore.
Sean in the chat room. Thank you so much, darling. Thank you.
So Amanda says she doesn't get notifications anymore. Yeah, and I remember saying that Karen B said she subscribed to me, and yet when I look at my subscribers, she's not there.
Yeah, I think they unsub you, and I think that, just say for instance, how many of you have got hundreds and hundreds of groups that you belong to, whatever channels, and then what it is if you're not looking every day through your hundreds and hundreds of lists, you might not notice that they've logged a couple of them off, and then the next week they log a few more off. And if you don't see, and loads of people are writing to me or messaging, putting that they have pressed the bell and the bell's not saying that we're on, so they forget or miss the hangout and they see it later on. So they're definitely doing something. Why can't they just leave us alone?
Ridiculous.
Well, the thing is, I think Red Pill Philosophy Chris did a video a couple of days ago saying that YouTube's now being sort of stung for its censorship, and it's, you know, promoting the wrong things. Even the general public have got pissed off with them. So you know, it's not as if some censorship and pushing certain agendas hasn't gone unnoticed. Hey ho.
Well, a couple of people are talking about the fact that they actually they might stop Flat Earth altogether on YouTube. They want to stop it. There's discussions whether they should stop all Flat Earth groups on YouTube. Whether that's just gossip or whatever, but yeah, people are talking about that, the censorship.
Well, let's hope not. Well, we can all just go onto DTube and steam it and just get off the mainstream stuff at some point. You know, we just have to make our decision.
Hold on. Is there people in the chat room that can't be seen by other people? I think there's some people that normally can see each other that right now can't see each other. Someone's just gone on my invisible. Someone like, I can see the chat room, but can people in the chat room see other people in the chat room?
Yeah, John Watson, I can see you.
But can anyone else in the chat room see each other?
If you've blocked someone, you won't see them. If they've blocked you.
But I'm saying, you see the three that we can see that are on the screen, and we can see that the chat room's a lot more. Are the viewers seeing everyone that we can see in the chat room?
I think they can. Yeah, I think John Watson said, "I can't. Am I invisible?" And someone has said, "I can see you." Amanda says, "I can see you."
Okay.
Maybe they weren't. He didn't feel they were talking to him.
Yeah.
0 views.
It's ridiculous.
There's 21 of us. There's 21 of us sitting in the chat room.
I'm definitely making a little clip out of this just to show the ludicrous one watching.
I'm lost. Yeah, I'm lost. I don't get it.
No, mine still says 3 watching. But that's mean, isn't it? Because that means that every night, because you see, I never understood this, Robin. Robin, you're a bit more mathematical. You can go to the analysis at the back of the Hangout, even when it's going, you can look.
Right.
And what it says basically, it'll always say something like, everybody's been watching for, it could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is. But it'll say, on average, people are watching for. So just say we'll pick 15 minutes, right? So you've got 4 15 minutes in an hour. If they're watching on average for 15 minutes, right? That's 4 15s. And you could be going for 3 hours. That's 4 times 15 times. But when you add up the numbers, it's a lot more. And basically, it'll render at 200 when really it should have been 2,000. I just don't get.
Downgrading your total watch time. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is,
downgrading.
look at the watch time. Well, even if you pick 20 minutes, there's 3 20 minutes in an hour. If you can see on, I can't tonight, but if you can see on the chat room, there's say 100 people watching, at 15 minutes ago. So it's 4:15. So that's 400 in an hour. And you've got times 3. That should be like 12,000, 1,200 views on the Hangout. It renders at 200.
For replay purposes, just for replay purposes, Karen, will you just run? Can you see the chat room where you're sitting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you just shout out everyone in the chat room so everyone in the chat room can hear who you can see in the chat room right now?
Okay. So I can see. Hang on. I can see Chilster. There's Gin. GoPro, Chocolate, Sayin, Vegan Warrior, John Watson, Bogan Broom, Amanda FE, Ute, Go Ball Fiction, I said Brandon, Amanda FE, Clive Albert, Super Leads, SS, Mr. Mensa, Raw Poet, Martin Leakey, Markovsky, Rose Tinted, Clive Con 1969, they're there, Lady Legs. Anybody else who's there? Lee. I've said Lee. Joe Mama. Who have we got?
And now can everyone just answer me one question? So for everybody that Karen just listed out, can most of you see all the people that Karen just listed out instead of what it says, just one watching? So if you can all see most of those names that she just shouted out, that's all good.
Skyfly's there now?
Because I'm this is baffling. Amanda's saying, yeah. Yes. Okay, well, that's it. Yeah, okay, that's at least everyone else can see what we can see, and everyone else isn't just seeing themselves, if that makes sense.
But apparently there's only 2 in the chat room at the minute.
On mine it says 1. On mine,
yeah, but I think I told you there's no count on this Hangout, so this Hangout was a bit doomed from the beginning because there's no view count on it. You know, it's always a view count, except when it goes down. But it's happened a few times before when somebody was in the chat room going, Karen, the count's going down. So it started off at 60 or 70 and it went down to like 0.
Weird.
Well, there's the story of the night, really. I'm going to make sure we capture some of that. Just get it on a video. We can have Comedy Central night, can't we?
So weird. So weird. Cool. Good
and, for the next trick. Right.
So, well, Karen, would you?
What
I was just going to say. The next kind of an announcements we should be making, I think, about the convention will be middle to late next week. So listen out for our next speaker and subscribe to Globe Live Facebook page and also FE Convention, and you'll get all the updates from there about the tour and the convention. So thanks everyone for joining in the chat. There's been way more than there's been reported. Apparently I'm on my own again, or you are on your own again, Roxanne. Thanks
Hang
so
on,
much.
Stay there a minute and I'll film a little bit of it from my camera. Right, how do I do it? New phone. I'm crap on my new phone. Right, where's the camera? Got to find the camera. It's all so different. I've gone for a completely different phone. Where's the camera? Come on.
Massive thank you to everyone that tuned in to listen to what we were talking about this evening. Martin, Brandon, Gary, Rose Tinted, Amanda, everyone, Chilster, Mark, John Watson, GoPro, Vegan Warrior, DRLA, Super Leads, Lady Leg 75.
So Roxanne, I'm filming it on my phone. Roxanne and Rob, how many does it say how many does it say that are there?
On my screen 1. It says 2.
Mine says 1.
Everyone in the chat room, how many is it saying that are watching just now?
It's a little annoying though, isn't it? Because obviously you're trying to advertise a convention here.
0, 1, 1, 1.
Everybody in the chat
binary code. Binary code. We're getting 1s and 0s. This is the AI is taking the mick out of us now. Look, we're just getting 1s and 0s. Jokes on
everybody in the chat room. Yeah, put in what you can see. Because obviously I'll make. Robin, you want to make one, or I'll make a little one.
It says 1 on here. Don't worry. What I'll do is I'll make a video of me playing this video back with the chat room in it, us commenting, and all the guys in the chat room saying, "There's way more than 2."
Great.
That'll do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All right, Karen. Well, it's been lovely being with you. It's been lovely being with you, Karen. Thank you for giving us the chance to share with our audience of 1. And
it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody as well in the chat room. All 1 of you. Paul Robin, he's been on his own all evening. Thank you so much, Roxanne, Tricia, chat room, and Robin, and wish you well. And obviously come back on Sun and Moon for an update. And also we'll need to speak, won't we, with my part in this
100%,
conference as well.
100%. Can't wait, Karen. Let's speak again soon.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. And yeah, I've got the chat room.
Got loads of
anyway, thank you so much. It's good night from us. So see you tomorrow night, everybody.
Take care.
Take care. Cheers, guys.